Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Expansive CEO Podcast. It's me. I'm here. I'm Hannah. Lauren's here too.
Hi, friends.
We're having a spicy day, so
So don't be surprised if you get a little spice coming out.
it's been an interesting day. The energy is weird. The vibes are weird.
Well,
But that's okay.
what's in the air right now, Hannah, is all the opinions. It's a gate 17 week. Anybody born between like March 23rd, 4th to the end of March, it's all about opinions right now.
So many opinions. So many
Yup.
opinions coming through. We're going to talk about that aspect specifically this week, but we are going to keep talking about the Expansive CEO method and the Expansive CEO program that we've got coming up. And if you're listening to this on the day that it's released, which is March 31st, so if you're listening to this on the 31st, there's still time to register for the workshop that is April 1st. Or if you missed it, if you're listening to this, at the end of the week, and you're like, dang it, I didn't get to listen to that, send us a note. We can share a recording with you. So email Lauren at expansiveceo.com, and we'll get you a recording of the workshop
Absolutely.
where we are going to talk a little bit about the process. And so when we talk about the Expansive CEO process and method, or whatever we want to call it, I'm not good at saying the same thing over and over again. It's all about discovery, alignment, and expansion. And those steps that when you discover what it is that you want to create, when you discover where you are right now in all ways, and then we align your time, money, and energy towards those goals, towards that thing you want to create, you will expand. You will experience the expansion, and things happen in the expansion. We're going to get to that in a couple of weeks. So today we're going to dive into talking more about what discovery means, how we do it, but also like why it matters. Why does it matter? Why does any of this matter, Lauren? This is a very existential question.
It is. Also, is anybody feeling melancholy out there? Because that'll be like, can feel hopeless. What does it matter? Well, it matters a lot. It matters a whole heck of a lot. And this idea of, I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, and I know that I'm going to say guilty of this, and I don't mean that in a shameful way. I just know that's been my experience, is that it can be hard. The harder part of discovery is sitting down and looking at where you are now and looking at all of the time, energy, and money that is categorized in the what's my current life versus what do I want all of that to be, or where do I hope that it goes, or whatever the case may be. And that's where that question of, what does it mean? What does it all matter? Like it can be a hard question. I think the hardest part of being an entrepreneur is that you really do face yourself in the process, wherever you are in the process, whether you're just starting out, you're a couple years in, you're really into it, you're constantly going through this discovery, alignment, and expansion process without even really knowing it. And this idea that you really have to, if you truly want to move the needle, you have to look at your world right now and pick up the rocks or pull at the roots, whatever metaphor you want to use. Yeah, whatever. Of what is working and what isn't working, and face the things that maybe you've been afraid to face so that you can get to alignment and eventually expansion. That's why it matters.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. And that really is, I want to tap in there as well. Like that's why a lot of people kind of shy away from the process too, right? It's like, oh, things I feel like things are worse than they are, or I feel like they're gonna get better. So like let's just hold on, let's wait. Like when I am at this place, then I will be ready. Is if there is any, you know, pushback that we receive at any point, it usually is that. It's like, oh, when I'm here, then I'll be able to do that. And the beauty of this process and this program, the way that it's created was it was literally created to be that thing, to be the place where it's like wherever you think you are, wherever you think you need to be before you can look at your financial systems. No, this is actually the starting point. This is it. The Expansive CEO program is the place where you can have a safe space to dive in and see where everything's at. Because we all, as entrepreneurs, I mean, even the ones that have exited a business or sold or, whatever it is, whatever, when you're onto your next thing or you're building for the first time, kind of no matter where you are in that entrepreneurial process, there's always another level. There's always another thing. There's always something around the corner. And it's the thinking that that thing around the corner is going to change everything is like the carrot sort of that is always in front of the donkey that you're never going to get to. And so we have to really understand where you're at right now. And I say that, why does that matter? What's the problem with that? The problem with that is that you then also aren't creating the systems to pay yourself appropriately. You're not giving yourself the chance to understand, how do I create the cash reserves that I need. You're not giving yourself the chance to prepare for taxes or prepare for bringing on a VA or an assistant or, a partner, whatever stage you're at in business, because it's just, you don't have that clarity around where is the money actually going
Yes.
and how am I creating money? What are my offers looking like? Are they going to support what I want to create? Are they gonna support the amount of money I need to make? Are they gonna support, um, I mean, literally being able to pay all your bills without having to have 1,000 clients a month, depending on what it is that you do, right? Like, if you have a $5 PDF that you wanna sell to 1,000 people, maybe that's great, maybe that's super easy to do. Beautiful. But if you are a service-based, business owner or a coach or, a fractional CXO of anything, of any sort, we really need to understand how many people you want to serve and how you serve them, what kind of team you have in place, right? And what that looks like for you to feel fulfilled and happy and, again, regulated, have a regulated nervous system when you're able to work with your clients. What does that look like?
Mhm.
So that's the why, especially of the discovery. When we really look at things, all of a sudden, like the rest of the decisions start to become a lot more clear, even from the get go.
Mhm.
But yes, it is the more challenging of the two. Of when we talk about discovery, whether discover where you want to go tends to be more fun than discover where you are now.
Yes. Yeah. I think one of the biggest challenges of starting out as a business owner, and even if you're a couple years into it, is that you've never had to think about those things before. If you came from a more W-2 kind of world, right? So let's say you're an entrepreneur who had worked in corporate or had some sort of W-2 role, and the money was just, I'm just gonna say it this way, the money was just there, right? You showed up to work and you got paid for the shit you did, right? I mean, just, and then taxes were already accounted for you, and you might have a checking account and a savings account and maybe some other accounts that allow you to kind of move and manage your money in a different way. But when you take all of that away and you go in and you bet on yourself, you kind of go into that mindset of like, oh, I can just like worry about that later as the money comes in. And then the money comes in, but maybe the money isn't coming in as consistently. You're not receiving that paycheck every 2 weeks. You're making the money, but then it's kind of like, but then I have to pay this. But I've got to pay to make sure my business continues to run. All these subscriptions that I have that I've signed up for, that half of them I have no idea what the hell they do. Or then you're starting to look at, if I want a VA, okay, well then you can go and then just go pay it, and then all this, pay for it because you believe that you've got the money, because it's kind of like you keep a mental accounting
Yes.
of it, right? And you're like, oh, well, I can afford a VA. And then you go and you do it. And then you come back and maybe you're working with your bookkeeper in a couple months and you're like, oh, wait, that, well, that's not working. I don't know that that's going to be sustainable. Or what I've been guilty of in the past is an early entrepreneur with revenue coming in. It's like, oh, I can then go buy that like thing that's going to get me the next big thing, like whether it's a program or whether it's a coaching thing or whether it's, somebody who can do with marketing. And then all of a sudden I've paid this exorbitant amount of money. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't really have that. Oh dear. Okay. And then you kind of, and then it's that moment of, oh God, I don't want to see how much damage I've done. So I'm just going to keep ignoring it until I get more revenue in, and then it'll all be okay and work itself out. It's those moments of, I'm just going to ignore it and hope that it works itself out that are the most terrifying. But I think in my experience, what's the most terrifying is sitting down and actually looking at the numbers, because then it's like, oh, it's like the guilt, the shame, and the remorse settles in. And it's almost harder to face those. And I say that as somebody who has an undefined solar plexus, and listener will tell you what that looks like in your chart. I think sometimes it's almost harder to face those than it is facing the decisions of like, oh yeah, I probably knew that wasn't the greatest financial decision, but now I don't want to deal with the emotions that I'm going to feel because of it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's what we look at in discovery. And we make the support of going through that as loving as we possibly can, because we can understand it.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And it's not just just be like very aware that that doesn't sound fun.
Yes.
And that's like a thing that I have had to contend with for always.
Yes.
In the work that I do, it's like I'm gonna say very rarely has anyone ever been like, I'm so pumped. Let's look, right? It's just not a thing, but rather it's more that thing that you have been ignoring. You know that you need to be looking at. You know that you need to understand better. And it's that going like the fear of going to someone that's going to judge you
Yes.
is the thing. Someone that's going to make you feel bad about the journey.
Yep.
And so that has been for me, that has been the difference maker. It's like I can't sell you a program that says like fun, and I guess I could, but like, let's have all the fun and rainbows and unicorns, and everyone's going to be happy and smiley and everything's going to be easy, and we're going to 100x your business in 5 weeks and make all these promises of things that are like, it's going to be fun and you're going to love it. And I would that be great to be with have an offer like that? Yeah, sure. and it's not necessarily real.
No, no, it's not. And that's where the importance of understanding your energy really comes in as a part of the discovery process. Is that part of it isn't just like, here's what your human design and what your gene keys say. It's helping you understand why it can be hard to sometimes look at those things. Why it feels, ugh, how do I say this? Why sometimes it feels easier to ignore the emotion than to ignore the actual thing that you're dealing with. And it's also not, yes, would we love to be like, yeah, we're, everything about this is empowering. It is. Everything about this program is empowering. It's just that you might have to trudge through some shit before you get to the empowering part. And that our collective energetic genius between the two of us is that we carry a lot of empowering energy
Yes.
to support other people through really hard shit. And sometimes the money is the hard shit. And it's not just the money that you have, it's looking at the relationship you have with money and looking at that through an energetic lens.
Hmm.
And I mentioned before that we've mentioned this 167 times on the podcast, that you and I are both emotionally undefined. So for anybody out there, if you're looking at your chart, go grab your chart, and your emotion center or your solar plexus center is the sideways triangle at the bottom right of your chart. If it's colored in, you are emotionally defined. If it is not colored in or it's white, you are emotionally undefined. For those of us who are emotionally undefined, part of our conditioning is that our minds tell us it's easier to ignore the thing that might be a little messy in life because we don't know how to handle the emotions that come with it. It's not that we don't know how to handle them. That's not fair. The emotions that we experience with very messy situations can feel really overwhelming.
Hmm.
And because we do not have a consistent and reliable way of processing those emotions, things like guilt, shame, blame that we carry for ourselves based on the financial decisions we have or have not made can feel very heavy. And we don't really want to run towards those things to face them. But I will say, in my own experience of being emotionally undefined, the minute that I face something really hard and really messy, it's actually easier to face it than it is to carry it and have nobody know that I'm carrying it.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. The immediate release of that weight. It's like it truly it's like it's immediate.
Yes, it's just like, oh, I got it out. Somebody, thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Yes. No, it's so true, and that's what you're describing even there is, I mean, that same sort of relief that that clients feel going through that process, going through like being like you said, being held in a very empowering container to look at things that are hard to look at by yourself, and then to realize, "Oh, it's not as bad as I thought. You guys, it's not as bad as I thought." Like people are like get so excited when they're like, "Wait, hold on. It's not a complete shit show over there." And I look and I say, "Objective opinion from a financial advisor, from a CFP, from a business owner, that actually looks pretty solid. You've got a lot of stuff going really well." That feedback is like it's so fun to give.
Yes.
And then there's sometimes you gotta, like, work through, having someone actually be able to receive that. Sometimes they're all in, and then sometimes they're a little bit like, "I don't know.
Yes.
Are you sure it's okay? Are you sure that's good?" But then it also gives us the basis. That's part of what gives us the, um, emotional, fortitude to then, "Okay, so it's not you don't have to fix 14,000 things. We gotta fix, like, 4." So now that we know that a lot of it is going in the right direction, you literally have the emotional fortitude to then handle those 4 and do that next thing. But when it seems like that was such a good, example you gave there, Lauren, of like, yeah, when you're scared to look at it because you're worried about how you're gonna feel, it seems 1,000 times bigger.
Insurmountable at times.
Yeah, it's like, "No, no, no, I don't wanna know. I don't wanna know how many things I have to fix." And then when we're like, "It's just these ones." "Oh, oh, I can do that." Like, "I know you can." "Yes, yes, you can. And here's how we're gonna do that." Right? And so the discovery part, again, okay, you know what it is we're going through kind of the heavier part right now too, right? Like discovery, there's a lot. There's a lot to discovery. So if you're listening to this, you're like, God, I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me. It's just one part.
Yes.
It's just a couple weeks. Truly. It's not, it really is just a couple weeks of diving in, looking at things in a few different ways, in the discovery process. But it is so, so important.
Yes.
We can't do the other work, the alignment and the expansion, the fun parts without it.
Right. And we've talked about this several times on the podcast is that when we look at these sorts of things, yes, we would love for everything to be sunshine roses and daisies and puppies. Um Unfortunately that's just not life. Part of the human condition is the struggle. Part and the struggle for finding purpose in life. Part of the human condition and part of the human experience is all about timing, being the right time, being in the right mood, being able to express, find the abundance and passion in life. And it's all behind the scenes. And the moment that any of us going through this journey as an entrepreneur, I hate to use the word find because I believe that courage is always there. It's not something we have to go searching for. It's more about when we,
Tap into?
yes, tap into or accept that this is the moment that that this is the moment, this is the time to swallow the pride, maybe the ego a little bit of, all right, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go. I'm going to dig. I'm going to put myself through this process to see where I am because sitting in the pain is a lot harder than going through the pain.
Right. Yes. See, yeah, of
It,
course, sitting in
it,
it is
Yeah, because I
great
saw
way
I
to think about
saw
it.
a quote the other day, and this quote blew my mind open. You can't find be you cannot find peace if you're busy protecting your pain.
Mm,
And I sat there. It was one of those moments I saw it on somebody's post on LinkedIn for you know of all places these days. I looked at my phone and I like dropped my phone because I was like, oh my god. That is it. And that applies so well to this situation of that you can't y it's not I'll say you're gonna have a really hard time finding peace if you're busy protecting your pain around decisions you could have made, decisions you should have made, and protecting the pain of not looking at your numbers. Because to your point, it truly I 99.9% of the time, it truly is a, "Oh." okay. Well, it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's like a hair flip moment of like, "Oh, okay, well, I got something in me." Um, and just, tapping into the courage to say, this is the time. This is the time for me to look because I want to find peace.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'm so glad you went there because helping people source that inner peace around their money, that's my one of my purposes in this lifetime. Like that is what we're doing. All of it. You can call it whatever it is, the expansive CEO method, program, discovery, alignment, expansion, blah, 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 blah. It's all about feeling that inner peace. There's so many, we need the words, we need the framework, the structures. The structures are beautiful. What is it actually? It's actually helping you find peace. Peace around your numbers, peace around your financial situation, peace that you can walk forward, you can take steps forward in the direction that you really want to go in, that it's going to be okay, that just when you do, this is the other, I want to give this example. This is such a powerful example because sometimes things are still hard in the future. And if you get your financial house in order at one point, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be perfect always. We Things change, things have to pivot. I have one client going through it right now, just really going through it. Um, and over the last, we're 2026, over the last 4 years, I believe we've been working together. She has built the most beautiful, like she built her cash reserve. She had a business cash reserve and a personal cash reserve. Her business is in full transformation mode. Like 10% of the income that she had last year has come in. And she's still at peace. Right? We went through like, okay, here's how we're going to shift some things in the business. I literally point blank asked, okay, well, what do you need for your personal to make sure that you can pay all your bills and everything's good? Do we need to take anything out of the portfolio? And she was like, oh no, I'm good there. I was like, oh, right, of course.
Hmm.
That's what the cash reserve is for. She has literally like 8 months of cash to be able to like go through the pivot. And that's what it's for. And then when the pivot happens and when things come back into what feels like more normal cash flow, we'll rebuild the cash reserves. And that's what they're for. And even in that moment, that moment would not have been possible without the work the years prior.
Hmm.
Of like going through again, doing this work, doing the same work, just continuing on with it. Um, and being able to pivot when the world underneath your feet just for her like everything shifted.
Hmm.
Last year, was it last year? Yeah, last year everything shifted. And it was a shedding year for sure. And so I mean that's for a lot of people. That's she's not even my only client going through that. Um and there's still peace. There's still peace to be had and to be like grounded into. Doesn't mean that it's not going to feel frustrating or bad or melancholy or all the things that come up um at times, but it's not there's not the panic. There's not the like what do I do frantic taking on any project that even if it feels like complete and utter garbage. Right, and makes you feel terrible in doing it, all of that. It's so so important. So it's like this this work is for long-term stability.
Yeah.
This is like setting you up for a successful future, not just the moment right now. But that's the goal, is that, and then that gets us into the discovery of like, what do you want to create?
Mhm.
What is the picture that you want to paint? How are you impacting people? What is, like, let's say you're in your 40s, because that's what we are, right? I'm thinking about 30 years down the road.
Mhm.
Like, what does that look like? Because only going to be 70, only 70.
That's right.
Well, 72 almost in 30 actual years. But knowing that there's so much life to live, and that I have, oh my gosh, like what kind of impact do I dream of having? How do I wanna help people? What does my business look like? What are my kids doing, right? Like, it doesn't mean I'm controlling the scenario, or like saying this is how it's gonna be, so I'm gonna force it, but it's painting that picture of like, where's your desire? What do you want to create?
Right.
I I sent you a TikTok yesterday. Did you watch that?
No, I did not see that. I don't get notifications from TikTok because I'll be lost in it for hours. So
It's
I
terrible.
consciously, I'll have to look at it when we get off. But
Okay.
yes.
I'll tell you the little bit of the story because it's very relevant. But a mom was telling the story of, she's like, I just learned something about the universe accidentally, because of my girls. She has two young girls, like 4 and 7 or something like that. They're pretty little. Her older daughter is so good about saying exactly what she wants. And she says, "Mom, I want eggs and cutie and Paw Patrol yogurt for breakfast." And her mom's like, "Oh, yeah." Mom's saying, "Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to give you that for your breakfast." And then turned to her other daughter, who she's described as, she tends to be kind of a Wednesday Adams. A little bit, tends toward the melancholy side. And there are some of us who just do, and it's fine. And at the same time, her little Wednesday, all she could say was, "I don't want eggs." She heard her sister say she wanted eggs and a tangerine and some yogurt. She's like, "I don't want eggs." And so mom was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and do this one for the other. We're gonna take care of that because I know what to get for her." And as she's going through the fridge, she's like, "Oh, you know what? She loves blueberries too. We've got some blueberries. She's got this." And so she did exactly what her 7-year-old asked for, but added to it because she's like, "Oh, I know she loves this stuff too. Like, she's gonna love that." Gives the plate to the daughter, and she's like, "Oh, thank you, mommy. This is even more than what I wanted. It's so beautiful. I'm so appreciative." And then little one starts crying because she doesn't have her breakfast. And so mama again is like, "What do you want? What do you want?" "I don't want eggs. I don't want eggs." "Okay, well, let's look at the fridge. Like, do you want this?" "No." "Do you want this?" "No." "Do you want this?" "No." "I don't know. I don't know." Like, and she's getting so frustrated. And mama's getting frustrated too.
Yeah.
She's like, "I want to give you what you want, but all you're telling me is what you don't want. And when you tell me what you don't want, I can say, okay, I'm not going to give you eggs, but there are about 8.5 million other foods that are not eggs. So what is it that we're going to get, sweetie?" Um, and her takeaway from that was that it's so easy to give even more to the child who knows exactly what they want, and is good at expressing that, is good at expressing their desire. And it's very challenging to give the other child what they want when all they express is what they don't like. And to her credit, this, like, she had a great solution to this. She's like, "We're creating I love you days, I love it days, for the little one to go out and just tell me if whatever she experiences, oh, I love this, oh, I love that. Like, tell me what you love. Tell me what you love so that I can clock that. And I know we can give you more." They went and got ice cream, and she said, "Oh, I love strawberry ice cream." And mama said, "I've been getting her vanilla because I didn't know that she loved, I just knew she didn't want chocolate." She says, "I don't want chocolate, so I got her vanilla. I didn't know she loved strawberry. Clocked it. I'm going to give you strawberry ice cream, little one." So that's on the discovery side of what do you want to create, right? From the energetic side, from the practical side, this is all of it coming together. This is not woo manifestation.
Right.
It's part of it, sure. I'm not going to pretend it's not in there, but
Right.
it's not just think it and create it, or think it and sit on the couch and see what happens, right? Like, that's not what we're doing here. But the literal example of, yes, we put that out to the universe, but guess what? When we put it out to the universe, your mama might hear it too and be like, I can get you some strawberry ice cream. That's easy. Of course. Right? Or you're literally in a mastermind or meeting with friends and you're like, I'm so excited about creating this thing. And they're like, hey, I need that thing. It the way that people come into our lives and the way that opportunity comes into our lives is because we know what we are trying to, not even what we're trying to, we know what we want. And when you can talk about it and put your energy behind it and just have that emotional connection, it is an emotional connection to what you desire.
Yes.
It creates the space for other people to say yes with enthusiasm. So we gotta have both. We gotta have both. We gotta know where we are now, and then we gotta feel into the desire of where do we want to go. I talked about that forever, for years. I still use that. It's called a light up your desires. In a PDF, and I still have new clients do that. It's great. But I mean, it's one of the things that I know to be most true. When you talk about what you actually are excited about, it generates true energy
Yeah.
for other people to come in and be like, oh, yeah, totally. I need that, or I want that, or I know someone who needs that.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about it. What's coming up for you? I just talked for a long time.
Oh my God. Actually, so many things. I'm just sitting here like, oh, a couple of different things. One, again, I think it's just our different lenses, right? As you're sitting here talking about the Wednesday, I was like, oh, I wonder what her design is. This idea of like, could she have an open ego, right? I'll just speak to it from a person who has an open ego. It, it has been challenging for me to talk in that what's next, what's coming, what does it look like in the space of abundance, because as a conditioned being in the open ego space, your open ego is, or your ego center or your heart center is the little teeny tiny triangle kind of in the middle of your chart, kind of to the right middle, next to the diamond and in between your solar plexus for anybody who's listening and kind of wants some direction on your chart. The conditioned is not having a consistent, reliable sense of self-worth and not having a consistent and reliable self-esteem, particularly in the area of material, in money, on the material plane. And it can be challenging to project, maybe that's not the word I'm looking for, but speak into that level of excitement
Hmm.
because you're like, can I? Am I allowed to? I'm allowed to say I'm worth something? And I don't mean that to be like so self-deprecating, but it can be. It can be that self-deprecating at times. Um, and so I'm just sitting here thinking like that's also what we work on in the program is that we look at this energetically to relieve and release some of this conditioning. And I'll be very honest with everybody who's listening. If you enter into the program, we can't get through all of your deconditioning in 6 weeks. That's not
No.
sweet cheeks. You got 7
Absolutely.
years. 7 years.
You got to shed those cells.
You got to shut them all and rebuild them. But I chuckle or I smirk or I appreciate that um, example because I think actually it's funny. I think it's a great example of you and me, right? I would probably be more of the Wednesday. You'd probably be more of the one. I know exactly what it meant. Because we just tend to that just tends to be an energetic lean for the two of us. And also, it's just, again, I swear to God, sometimes you just can't fuck with the universe if you wanted to. Looking at that is that you are so good at the whole, like, what's next? How do we speak into this? How do we feel excited about this? Whereas I tend to be more of the one, no, no, no. Where are we right now? What are we doing? We can't look at where we want to go if we don't figure out where we are right now. And we bring that level of compassion, that level of empathy, and have no judgment for where you are or where you want to go. You provide the whole, like, it's okay. Speak whatever you want. Be excited about whatever you want. And I'm the one on the other side being like, yeah, we're just going to hold the space for where you are right now. About where you are and why you feel this way right now. And recognizing it's not the way you're always going to feel if you take the time to work on yourself, to look at yourself, to love yourself. Um and to get excited and to feel worthy, that you are worthy of those things. And I'm the greatest cheerleader for other people. I'd be like, but, honey, why do you think you're not worthy? And then I'm over here like, oh my God, I cannot. It's just like one of those things. Listen, I swear I'm more with it than I seem on this podcast right now. But it's part of the journey, right? And recognizing that that's the beautiful space, is that both hold significance in terms of where you are and where you want to go, and to be excited about it. And also finding the balance of the excitement and the energetic intention versus, like, holding on so tightly to those outcomes and being like, that is the only way that I will reach excitement or happiness if it happens that way. And I think all of us know that we can hang on to every ounce of wanting something to go exactly the way we want it, and then getting to the end and being like, yeah, that wasn't at all what I expected.
Right.
But oftentimes the results are there, but you just gotta let go a little bit. You gotta surrender to the how. Like, be okay with the, like, be excited and feel into and tap into the what, but be open to the how. And one of the things that I just I don't know why today I feel compelled to talk about this, but for anybody who has been in human design, we'll just look at human design specifically right now, who has been in design for a while, knows that we could look very, very deep into your chart, and we can go well beyond a foundation reading, which is a part of the program. That is a part of Discovery, is that you have a live 60-minute reading of looking at your energy in depth. We can go even deeper, like not in the program. We don't do that in the program, but you can go much deeper. And one of the things that you can look at through your human design is your purpose, and how your purpose is fulfilled, which is a very advanced topic within human design, and often for those who have been in their experiment for at least 3 years. And I just find it so beautiful that a part of this program is all about your relationship with money. It isn't just about filling the well. It's about figuring out what's keeping you from filling the well the way that you want it, based on the relationship that you have with money. And for anybody out there who may or may not know, Hannah's purpose is fulfilled through bonding, through relationships. And it didn't dawn on me until I really understood what that meant, and going through my own experience, but recognizing that a part of the thing that Hannah has built is your relationship with money. Her purpose is being fulfilled by supporting you in your relationship with money. And that, looking at relationships, obviously in the more literal sense of the word, but also that you're fulfilling your purpose in a very poignant way by supporting business owners to shift and optimize their relationship with money, which is a beautiful kind of coming together moment.
Mhm. Yeah. And it's have lived so many of the implications, like lived through so much of, living through scarcity and what that does to a child, what that does to parents, what that does to relationships. Um, and that was, I mean, looking back, part of what um part of that purpose, right, is to help people understand how to maintain their relationships kind of no matter what the money situation is, right? Like how to navigate it. Um, because those experiences were really painful as a child to live through. Um, and I would not wish that on anyone. And at the same time, like I can also see how I would not be as rooted in that purpose right now if my journey had been any different. And that's comes from the acceptance of what is. And I can also say, yeah, that's not what I want for, my kids to experience. That's not what I want other people's family life to be like, especially when they have young children. And so I like really truly do want people to have that better relationship with money so that it doesn't bleed out into, again, pain and suffering for everyone around them. Right. uh but you mentioned that maybe it was last week or the week before, what we went through as children, as adolescents, as young adults was not our fault. And like at the same time, here you are as an adult, it is now your job to heal, to heal those triggers, to heal those wounds, to heal whether it's big T trauma, little T trauma. It's that now you get to choose. You get to choose that path forward of, is this something that I grow from, or is this something that crushes me forever? And that was the shift, that was the pivot in my 30s anyway, um, to really make a big change, mindset, heart, everything. Believing in myself, truly. That was the biggest part. And I've told that story on the podcast before of, how I left the firm I was at before and the why, and literally my higher self saying, "You don't know who I am. I believe in me. I am. I'm not going to be successful. I am already successful. I already know. And I just am not experiencing that here. It's just
Mhm.
not at this place. It is going to be somewhere else."
Yes.
Um, but that again is a huge act of self-love. And that like learning over and leaning into that over and over again for myself is what has um primed the pump, I want to say, for what I later found. I didn't find human design until after all of that. And I was like, holy shit, like just read out my life purpose to me and like talk like I money is mentioned specifically like 3 times. which is not which is not it's not in all it's so weird. I just laughed the first time I read it. But that specifically, that relationship with money, that relationship with, it is a primary relationship in our lives,
Mhm.
just like our parents, just like our siblings, if we have them, your whoever your caregiver guardian was, that's a primary relationship. Money is a primary relationship. And we have to treat it as such in order to be able to, um, really experience the fullness of that, like any relationship, right? The joys of that relationship, the heartbreaks of that relationship, everything. It's a full spectrum still. Like I just mentioned with my client who her business was freaking rocking for several years and then full, full shift. It's heartbreak. that's heartbreak. And it's not because she did anything wrong. Literally the ground shifted beneath her feet.
Mhm.
Metaphorically, but feels literal.
Yeah. Well, I think 2025 was a shedding year in a lot of ways for a lot of people in very different ways.
And I wanted to mention to your point that we don't go that deep in the program, right? It's you get your reading, and then from there, kind of right at the beginning, because then we are going to tailor like, okay, we know who our generators are, we know who our mani-gens are, we know who our projectors are, we know, who do we have in the room. We are always going to tailor our teaching to who's in the room. So that's really important information for us to know. But if anyone does want to go deeper, or if you're listening and you're like, well, I want to know the deep, I know some things about my design, but I want to know more. 100% check it out. That is also what we do.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
to, not to leave that off the table of like, um, that we don't do. Yes, we do that.
Yes, we do readings because my purpose is fulfilled through mind.
Hmm.
How you learn to be okay in the form that you were given.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And to love and cherish the form that you were given. I have
Yes.
never seen a human design chart, as soon as I see it, or a Gene Keys map for that matter, where I'm not like, "Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Look how
Right.
beautiful you are."
Yes, and the more that you dig into somebody's design and start to piece it all together, how unbelievably balanced it is.
So crazy.
And that, these one aspects that you think that we've talked about before, these aspects that you think that are so terrible, um, are often counterbalanced by something else in um, in the chart. Like for instance, today, 18/4, if you were born today or you were born around March 27th, you might have 18/4. Gate 18, line 4, which I believe, if I remember, is called the incompetent. Who
Especially
wants to be called? Who wants to think that that is part of their design? But that's the thing about these. I'll go on my soapbox here, right? This is why one, people change the language because they don't know how to explain it, or two, they just kind of like skip over it and like, oh no, don't look here. No, we look there because somewhere else in the chart it is balanced out, and this idea of the incompetent, quote unquote, will make sense in the larger picture, and that's why we include it as a part of this program. Is one, so that we can support you along the way to build the business that's meant for you. It doesn't what's not what I want for you. It's not what Hannah wants for you. It's not what anyone else wants for you. It's giving you the relief that we talked about, the release or the relief of like, you get to build a business that works for you, that aligns to how you want to connect with people, how you want to market, how you want to structure your business. That's part of the systems. When we talk about alignment, that's part of the alignment, is to make sure that you feel confident, you feel courageous enough to build this business that might be misaligned to general expectations, but that are truly aligned to who you are as a person. And that's why we do it as a part of discovery, and we do it very early in the process, is this is part of discovery. We're going to tell you where you are right now, in how you're designed to operate and where the heck you're getting in your own way. And yes, we do that off the side too. If for whatever reason, the program isn't the fit right now, if you want more on your design, absolutely. We'll do a reading
Mhm.
and support you.
Yeah, absolutely. We can even, even the whole process of discovery, alignment, expansion, we can do that individually as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I want to, and we can, uh, let's bring it back in here at this point, because the program, like talking about that, and what is so interesting is that people do not typically want to be vulnerable in a group space around money. Almost every group space you go to, especially as an entrepreneur, if you go to networking meetings, if you go to chamber meetings, if you go to whatever, right? Like everyone is posturing that everything's great because, like, we're supposed to.
Well, yeah, because don't let anybody see that you're sweating.
Right. Absolutely not. Wear those sweatpants so no one can see. Right. Or online, right? The projection that everything is great. The projection you've got it all together because, that's you want people to work with you and you've got to have it all together. Even if you've made seven figures in your business, let's say you've made $1 million in your business, you don't want to tell everyone that it cost you $985,000 to make it. Right. And that you barely were able to pay yourself. But we hear the good. We see the projection. We see that's all we want to do, especially in group settings. And I'm going to share the another gift, like, again, like, just fully as transparent as I can be. There is something about the container that I create and that we create together where it's okay. It's safe. It's safe to actually be fully who you are, and it's safe to be fully who you are in the group. And you don't have to posture. And it's like the one place where you can, like, oh, you're experiencing that too? Oh, you have that same money story? Oh, I have this, like, the way that people um come together and support each other is like mind blowing. It really is. And it's not typical. It really isn't. And yet it's because of these different elements that we're bringing together, right? From, the human design piece, from the money story piece, and then from the practical, we're looking at the numbers piece. It creates a safety in that container that is really hard to replicate. Um, but that's what it becomes. It becomes the safe space to actually share what your process is, how you've been going, how things have been going, what you actually dream of creating, all of that. All of that stuff that can feel vulnerable, where you might be like, yeah, I'd rather do that, privately. Yeah, 100%. Like I said, we can do that. And also, you could do it on your own. You could do self-study. Like, that's fine. The group aspect is it creates its own energy
Mhm.
because that's what we do energetically when we connect with other people. It creates its own energy of this is launching something new together. This whole group, right? You're going to know each other better than you ever expected. And have people who, again, beyond just me and Lauren, who will be your cheerleaders forever. We're really good at that.
Yes.
But you'll have even more, like the whole group itself becomes this, like, this beautiful, again, base of support to
Yes.
launch something new from. And I just wanted to mention that because it's such a special and unique um, aspect of doing that in a group setting, doing the program together with other people rather than, again, like, okay, I I'll be vulnerable just with myself, but I don't wanna be vulnerable with anyone else.
You bring up a great point, and I think especially among entrepreneurs is to sit with a group of people who are going through the things that you're going through, and that there is a universality in some ways to what we've all experienced because we're all human, and again, it's all part of the human experience. And to recognize that you are not alone in any of this, and that we are all of so much more when we connect with other people. Not to say that we're not enough in and of ourselves, because that is not the message that I'm saying. We are definitely enough in and of ourselves. There's a different quantum that's created when we come into connection with other people. I think, and we've talked about it when we talked about the splits. It's not a half and a half coming together. It's a whole and 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 a whole. When we, have a group of that, 6 to 10 wholes are coming together to create this energetic ball of safety, love, and compassion that says, we won't let anybody in this group quit on themselves, fail, or feel as a failure because of how you got where you are right now. That's of no concern of ours. And by that, I mean, it's not a concern that we use it as like, oh my God, how did you get here? It's more of, you're here. We love you. Our role is to support you in continuing to love yourself or bolster the love that you have for yourself, to shift not just your relationship with energy, but how you see yourself in your business, how you see yourself in relation to energy.
Save wisely, spend joyfully, and support the causes that matter to your heart generously. Right? We've got so many fun structures.
I know. Just come play with us for all the 3 structures. We like to build our structures in 3, so just come play with us to learn
Right?
all of those.
It's like a playground. Like, let's go do this for a while, and then we're gonna go over to this one for a while, and then we're gonna go over to this one for a while. That's what you get working with generators.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Save wisely, spend joyfully, support generously. Those are guiding principles for sure
Yes.
as well. And again, we have the workshop coming up April 1st, tomorrow. If you can jump on, head over to the registration link that we have in the comments. It's right there for you. If this is past April 1st, but before April 29th, you can reach out and we'll send you the workshop, or you can just hop on a call with us and ask about the program, see if it's a good fit for you. The program is $3,999. And so it's not super out of reach, but it's not $100 either. You're getting very um, live support all the time. We are there with you all 6 weeks plus your reading plus your integration session. You're getting a lot of
Yeah.
us being there, supporting you through this, and we're super excited for um, launching it this way. We talked about this a little bit last time, relaunching it in this new partnership format. I'm excited, and I can't wait to see who comes to the playground to play with us.
Yes. I'm super excited. I mean, just to see it all come together and to support those in this journey. Truly.
Okay, so we talked all about discovery. Next time, we're going to talk about alignment. What does that entail? Because we've got some more structures there: time, money, energy. All of our threes. Everything is in threes. It's really good.
Yes.
Lauren loves threes. I
I
love
love me some treats.
I love fives. I'll tell you that.
Mm.
I love 5 is my favorite number. It's 5, 25, anything that's a multiple of 5s. I like 5s.
All right.
But when I create things in threes. I also have 3 kids, so it works. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, we have 5 family members.
we do have 5 family members. See, it's
Yeah.
perfect. It's good.
Yeah.
Um, so next week we will talk more about alignment and what that means and how you can even start no matter what, start looking at ways that you can align your time and your money to support your highest energy. And we're just going to keep jamming. Anything else, Lauren? Any other thoughts?
No. No, we're just gonna jam.
We're just going to jam. We're just going to keep jamming. All right, friends. Thank you for being here. Check the show notes for any links that you might need. Send us an email if you have any questions. Um, yeah, anything you want to hear us talk about, all things normally that you hear about. So we love hearing
Yes.
from you. We'll
Yes.
see you next time.
Bye, friends.